relatively comprehensive.
I agree. This close. Variance, setbacks. That's fine. Really?
Is my stuff anywhere?
No, you're good.
Put it up here, and then it can slowly just fall off.
I don't have as much stuff as I had last meeting.
Yeah.
I can't find anything. Something's got to be finished because I need to start recycling.
Yeah, you should see my,
I have this much
Office.
space, and my pile
yeah,
is going away. I gotta reduce it.
I got piles like this, and I got stuff on the floor.
Next Friday is my recycling day, and it's going over. There's gotta be something I can toss. Gotta be something. Sometimes I just keep a couple pages of plans and throw out all the specs and the sheets that.
We never approved the minutes from the July 6th meeting,
We have 2 sets of minutes.
right? Okay. Double check, I have that written down. I'll make sure I was right about that. All right, let's bring the meeting to order. Can we rise for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will do the roll call. Rebecca Anderson.
Here.
John Kopis asked to be excused. Anthony Gorski.
Here.
Joseph Keefe.
Here.
Lawrence Korzenski.
Here.
Neil Conley is here. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Please be advised that we are an advisory board and not a final decision-making body. We ask that anybody wishing to make comment do so in writing. You will also have a chance oftentimes at public hearings. We do have one tonight. Our public hearing will be at 7:05. We have a couple of administrative items, and then we'll get to the public hearing. I want to approve the minutes from the July 6th, 2022 meeting. We did not have them in hand at the last meeting, so we did not approve them. One thing I want to add to that set of minutes is the list of communications. I don't think that was sent to you in the communication that you received. So can we have a motion to accept the minutes from July 6th?
So moved. I'll second.
Point of order, Chair, if you could correct the attendance, I was not present at July 6th.
Okay, I think I do have that written down in that meeting. Okay. I'll double check to make sure we have that. Yeah. All right. Who's second?
Larry.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now the minutes from the July 20th meeting. Are there any additions or deletions?
I have nothing.
Comments? All right, I want to thank Joe for helping me out, and also Cindy Maciejewski, our former secretary, has been gracious enough to help me with distribution and that type of thing. It's made it a lot easier. Can I have a motion to accept the July 20th minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, communications list. for this month. All right, in case I didn't talk to everybody, I did leave forms for changes in the payroll processing. All you need to do is fill out your name, your social security number, and your email address. If you wish to have direct deposit, you fill that out as well. And I don't know when it's going to change over, but I think they're pushing for as soon as possible. Any questions, communications? All right, at this time, I want to open the public hearing. And the public hearing is for the William Street Minor subdivision located at 5550 William Street, two-lot split. Anybody wish to come up and speak at this time, please come forward. State your name and address, and then give your comments. Okay. All right, last call. All right, we have to make it official. At this time, I'll move to close the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I want to reiterate what Ms. Anderson said last time. The fact that we have a public hearing does not preclude your opportunity to submit comments in writing. You can still do that at any time, right up to the time that the
Site plan.
site plans or subdivisions are voted upon. Okay, next on the agenda then is the seeker short form for Robert James Sales. This is an unlisted action, so we will do short form seeker.
Alrighty. Good evening, members of the planning board. I'm Chase Kramer. I work with Bergman, but I'm here representing our client, HBS, to try to get the seeker and site plan approval for the modifications to the existing approved site plan at the Robert James Sales facility. Just to kind of go over what those modifications are again, we'll be adding a 80 by 60 pole barn, along with all the associated pavement for vehicles to pull in and out of. The pole barn's main use is going to be for vehicle storage on site, for fork trucks, box trucks, those sorts of things. And so that'll be everything that is incorporated with the pole barn. Then the other modification to the already approved plans is going to be to the second building that was supposed to be constructed in phase 2. We're going to be reducing the footprint by roughly half. So, but we are still anticipating that they're going to be building out the subgrade for the building, because it's anticipated that the building will be built completely in a future phase. We'll also be adding 2 recessed loading docks to that building as well that weren't in the plans. And we are conveying the stormwater that'll enter those truck docks into this existing stormwater system that goes to the pond on site. So that roughly sums up what we have here. So like I said, again, we're here seeking the seeker approval and the site plan approval.
Okay, why don't we go through the environmental assessment, impact statement and assessment, and if we need to, we will refer to you
Sure.
for your help. All right, so we're going to use the short form. Number one, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Two, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? Three, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. We do not have a critical environmental area, so we'll skip number 4. 5, will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. 6, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. 7, will the proposed action impact existing A, public-private water supplies?
No.
No. B, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. 9, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? For example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No. 10, will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. Okay, everything was no there. Therefore, can we have a motion to issue a negative, or to recommend a negative declaration?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, on the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now we'll go right to the site plan. You've already made your presentation. Members, any questions?
Was there a question about drainage calculations on this project?
Yeah, the flow calculations, has that been
That was,
resolved?
yeah, we talked about that last meeting.
Okay, we're all
Has
set
that been
then?
resolved?
Okay,
Then no.
okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I had written down too. Matt, anything from you, code enforcement officer? Councilman Mazer? Don't want to forget about you. All right. Then I think we're all set for a motion if there are no objections. Anybody wish to make that motion?
Sure, I'll move that we approve the site plan as presented.
Second?
Second.
On the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, good to go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Appreciate everything.
Sir.
Delta Sonic? All right, this has been deemed, Delta Sonic has been deemed to be a type 2 action, so it will not require a seeker, and therefore we should be able to move ahead. Unless we have some objection based on what we hear right now.
Hi, I'm Dave Zuppelli. I'm with Bedderson Development representing Delta Sonic.
Could you say your name again?
David Zuppelli.
Okay.
Our proposed action is just a minor site plan modification where we're going to add a 12 by 28 vinyl shed, as well as a 270 square foot employee break room and a 30-foot diameter fountain and flagpole to the site plan, which is all highlighted on my site plan that I'm showing you guys now.
Would you point them out?
Yes.
When I have my plans out in front of me, I can see them, but from here.
So the shed is right here next to the dumpster corrals. Break room is along the car wash.
That little, right,
Right there.
right.
And the flagpole and fountain is right at the entrance of the car wash.
Any other questions? Comments, Mr. Schiller?
No.
Mr. Fishion?
Nope, no comments.
No, nothing? All right, pretty straightforward. Anybody wish to make a motion on this one?
I'll make a motion to approve the plans as presented, the amended plans as presented.
I will second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Brings
Thanks.
everything up to code, I mean, everything up to square. Done.
All right, we have the two-lot split, 10 Lancaster Parkway. This is the split existing 4.13 acre property, zone light industrial, into two lots, each in conformance with zoning requirements within the LI zoning classification. Right? Jeff Palumbo gave me a call today and said he was unable to be here. Is anybody here in his place? Okay, he was hoping that somebody would come in his place, but Jeff was aware that this would need to go through the coordinated review, and so if we can, I will move to table this to a future meeting. I think we're looking at probably early September.
Yeah, because I think the file was, I don't even have a file on that one yet, so our office just received everything.
So I'll just
Early
say,
September, I think.
we'll just move to a future meeting.
Yeah.
And we do need this, well, let's table it first. All right, can I have a second?
Second.
On the motion to table, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion carries. Now, I want to make a motion to set a public hearing. Emily, correct me if I'm off on this, but I want to set the public hearing for September 7th. Would that be okay?
Yeah, we can do that.
It'd be 5 weeks from today, so it'd be past 30 days. So, all right.
September 7th?
So let's set a public hearing for this project at 7:05 on September 7th. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, so we're done with that for now. All right, moving right along. Turbo Pro?
I'm Brenda Bantle, Vice President of Turbo Pro, and our foreman, Brad Bites.
Brad Bites.
And I didn't bring big plans like that. I have printouts if you would all like printouts.
Well, I think we did get,
We got it.
You got them?
we got our,
got it.
yeah,
Well, okay, good.
we have
We have the
plans.
package.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we want to add on both sides of the existing building.
This'll do.
You get a plan for the building itself, I think that's what was brought by the applicants, the building plan?
The renderings?
Yeah.
Do we have renderings of the
Building
building?
plans, elevations and plans,
We do not.
I think that's what the applicant brought that to me.
Okay.
Oh, that would be good.
Good evening, members of the board. Robert Pedanek of Nussbaumer and Clark. Our office is located at 3556 Lakeshore Road in Hamburg, and we are the design engineers for the project. We did the site planning. We're here this evening on behalf of Brenda and Joe. They own Turbo Pro, located at 1284 Town Line Road. It actually sits in the town of Alden, but the town of Lancaster does the review on behalf of the town. And so Turbo Pro is a company that specializes in industrial compressors. They do parts and repairs and service at their facility at 1284 Town Line Road. The firm does have its own in-house engineering and manufacturing departments and fully staffed repair shop. They currently employ 10 people, And last month, we submitted on their behalf a site plan for a 3,100 square foot expansion to the building, actually located in two places. They're a pole barn, and I think Brenda has just passed out a plan for you to take a look at. Their entire parcel is 1.05 acres. They will not be adding any new parking to this facility. We do have a small detention area. We met with the town earlier this year. Town engineer Schiller had defined the requirements for us and what we needed to meet, and we've submitted plans and an engineering report supporting that basin that we've designed there. Brenda, I don't know if you have any more. Under seeker, it is a type 2 action because the building is actually less than 4,000 square feet. And we'd be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Matt, are they aware of your comments?
They are.
Okay.
And they brought the plans with them, so that was one of the things that was outstanding.
Okay, so that's all been addressed then?
Yep, and the lighting question had been answered with the, wall mounted wall packs, like the answer.
All right. Ed, have you had a chance to read?
I just got this yesterday. So
Okay.
I looked at it.
All right, we don't have to go through the coordinated review process, but I do believe we'll have to table in order to have our engineer review the plans. Any questions by the members? In the meantime? Members, do you agree that we need to table, or?
I'm pondering. What have we got? We have to do with stormwater. Is that correct?
Yeah, he submitted the report, I just haven't.
You haven't had a chance to review it.
No.
So you don't know yet whether or not it's correct.
Correct.
That's what we're holding up. And unfortunately, because you just got it, we don't have much choice. We're going to have to table.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
But it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
It's only a 2 week.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
next meeting,
Okay,
we could,
yeah.
because we don't have to seeker, we don't have public hearing, we just have, I
Yeah.
don't see any other option.
Okay, we will come back and see you in 2 weeks.
We can table this.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to table to the next meeting
And I will second
on
it.
August 17th. We have a second?
Is there anything else?
Well, I just wanted to note the other comment that we did identify the trash removal system is located at their other site across the street that's actually in the town of Walton.
Yes, across the street, down the road.
Down the road a little bit, so they do have a trash removal facility for their entire operation.
They
It just
do.
doesn't happen to be on this site.
They take it there. Pardon?
We take it there, yes.
What kind of trash? Is this industrial recycling trash or just regular bags of office paper and trash?
Yep.
Not a problem.
Okay, I believe there's a motion on the floor?
And I think I seconded.
Yes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we have, I want to address 272 pavement again. I thought that Tom would be here today, or a representative. He wanted to refer this to the planning board. To be honest, I'm at a loss to know what to say. I told him that he needs to take care of a couple things. I guess I'm still, I know you answered this last time, Matt, but if he had done those other things, could he be doing the dumping permit now? Like if he had,
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have been a part of the development plan, absolutely.
well, why can't you have a dumping permit without a development plan? That's what I don't understand.
Because we don't have a development plan. The whole purpose of a dumping permit is to altering grade of an existing parcel to take care of a drainage issue or.
Okay, that answers it. Gotcha.
grading plan, but at the same time, we began bringing excess material to this lot with a driveway where in essence developing. So, and even to this day, there's a sign on the lot, for sale, will build to suit, with a phone number on it. So we're advertising that, you know, we're taking build orders either on that lot or off-site, which is against the sign code. But, you know, in all reality, the lot is posed to be developed for single-family occupants. So unless it gets back in front of this board, there really shouldn't be any action taken. And, you know, let's get a plan together. Let's figure this thing out so that we can understand and address all the concerns that the board had and move forward.
Well, there's no action that we can take. I don't see it. Anybody see it differently?
Yeah, dumping permits are issued by the town board.
Yeah.
I thought that piece was going to be basically an exception.
That lot,
Yeah, that last
It-
piece.
it was,
We agreed that they put 2 houses north, but that other section, because of the slope, was
I-
going to be an exception.
well.
To be honest, I thought at some point he was going to try to build the thing up so that it would be more visible, and that at that point, our engineer and our code enforcement officer, if they were in agreement, they would sign off on it. Then it would come to the planning board. All right. I think the way the thing read, it would have to come to the planning board with your
We would,
sign off.
We would have to look at what the plan was and then refer to the planning board for its review and approval, absolutely. Yeah. But
Yeah.
he hadn't done any of that, nor had he filed the deed restriction that was required for the initial lot split anyways. So, I mean, I'd like to get him to that point at least, and at least have him start thinking about a development plan, what we're really going to do with the property, get this thing moving so that, you know, the build permit is part of the building permit. If we're going to start putting material on site, it's there.
And if he's putting material on site that's in violation?
Well, right now, the subdivision approval in total is in violation because it didn't meet the conditions of site plan for subdivision. So, I mean, let's get the horse back in front of the cart and then let's move forward with this development.
it looked to me like he was trying to reduce the slope. At one time, he mentioned he wanted to build a house built into the slope or something like that, and we all.
I honestly don't know how he's going to get sewer service to that site because it is considerably lower than the main at Nectar Road. I don't know how that's going to happen. He hasn't proposed a thing on how to develop that land.
Yeah.
That's the primary goal he has to achieve today.
All right, I just want to,
And it's not big enough to achieve a septic system, correct?
Pardon me?
I said it's not big enough to get a septic system put in, or a
No.
sandbed.
his quote is, "I am not looking to develop the lot at 272 pavement at this time. I have applied for a dump permit. I am requesting this to be referred to the planning board." I've tried to tell him that the planning board does not issue dump permits. I think what you're saying is that the dump permit is part of the developing that lot, because he's trying to build up.
It is, and I really don't think any action should be taken on that parcel until he satisfies the original approval. Just like any parcel, I mean, we will not issue a simple fence permit on a property that has no violation. Let's fix the violation, and then we can talk about your improvements. You know, it's just it's a stopgap to prevent something from lingering over time.
That's right, we didn't give Lucas James a building permit until he got his subdivision corrected. You know, I don't see where anything is much different here.
Let's walk the path we have to do
Yeah.
and take it from there.
All right, I think we're done with that for now, hopefully in a while. It was mentioned at the last meeting that applications for projects need to be updated. In that regard, the town attorney's office has asked us, the planning board, to look into applicants being required to submit electronic versions of entire projects, at least to that office. This would make it easier to send documents to involve seeker agencies. I get that. I think we're also behind a little bit, the town of Lancaster is, in the sense that we don't have electronic documents available to the public. as required by New York State. I had at least one reporter complain to me about that. And I think this would go a long way towards rectifying that. So I don't know where to go from here. I think we talked a little bit about it last time. Matt, I know you guys are swamped, but I think it's got to come from your office. You know, in the long term, I think this could make things move more quickly. But in the short term, it's more work for you. I get that.
Well, it'll make work a lot less. I just like to have a general consensus, this board or town board, that we're going to make an adjustment to our application and the application process for that purpose, to streamline the application, the whole process, and get information out, because the other agencies have moved to electronic filings. Environment and planning, I think you have to upload everything electronically. DEC is requesting all electronic documents. They don't want paper.
All right.
So are you saying that along with certain number of paper copies, you want electronic files? Or are you saying electronic files will replace the paper file?
That's a discussion I think that has to be had, because out of those 31 copies, a certain amount goes to these agencies. So the agencies that don't want paper anymore, they prefer electronic. Do our local agencies prefer paper over electronic? It's a discussion that's got to be had. Does the police department really need paper?
My personal opinion is if the agencies don't require paper, don't give them paper, in my opinion.
That's right, but we're this is our application.
My fear is that other people that review it may not generally use their computers.
Understood.
And B, I think some people can read the documents better and understand them better with a piece of paper in front of them instead of on a screen, because on a screen they're not to scale, you're just looking at a picture. So, I mean, that's my take.
Understood. Along with it.
But if it negates 10 copies out of 30, why not?
Well, let me propose something.
Because then if, for your sake and the town's sake, it might be easier to start saving files instead of saving boxes and boxes and boxes of these things.
Well, I see this as an evolutionary type thing. It's not going to be one thing, you know. We can start with, even if we had one electronic copy, then I think 20 years from now, everything's going to be electronic. So we got to move towards that.
And I'm not opposed to receiving paper documents. I just want to make sure that everybody has the information that they need to, to apply themselves in the process, right? So eventually, the building department is going to go electronic. We're gearing ourselves to get rid of the paper, cloud source all of our storage, everything in PDF. It's going to be a lot easier. Should there be a scale drawing required, that shouldn't be that big of a problem. Again, to servicing the other agencies for secret review, they're going there. So they've been asking. We don't have the capabilities to scan. It's going to cost our department to go to Lancaster Blueprint or go to the Ed Shutt's office to have these documents created. It's going to cost something. So rather than spend the money, let the applicants provide the electronic.
Let's face it.
They're doing it in other municipalities.
I mean, I'm in the profession, Ed's in the profession. 98% of what you see here is all done electronically anyway.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
And then you spit it out on paper.
Yes, sir.
So giving you a flash drive with a file on it's going to cost them less than printing 10 extra copies.
Yeah.
And it streamlines it. So let me propose that for the next meeting, I provide some kind of an adjustment to our application packet. Let everybody see it, get the town board involved in it, to see if it's going to be okay to make that amendment. I just don't want to change something without everybody understanding what that is. Included with that application, especially for these site plan projects, I'd love to get a boilerplate of our stormwater agreement, insert that into our required information, because by the time it gets in front of you, we can have something at least preliminary for the attorney to review, so that by the time we are at that secret stage, it's kind of like a done deal. It's already been addressed. It's already drafted, ready to file, and we just move forward. It just seems to be another stumbling block in the whole process that delays the process of approval.
Not only that, but if you spoon feed people what you want and what you need, it usually comes back correct, or closer to it.
That's what our zoning code's supposed to do.
It's supposed
These are your
to,
directions.
but you need to give them the
Yeah.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah, you give them the wording, and I think that's an excellent idea. It'll make it easier on you. Chasing it down.
I would say for review purposes, I would want to see at least one paper copy because of the scale issue. I mean, if you're trying to look at a screen, it's just a
The
nightmare.
last thing we want to do is force him to print it.
Well, yeah, that's what I would do anyway.
You're exactly right. So, and the whole point of this is maybe we don't receive 31 copies.
Maybe a five,
We receive 12, 20, just for those people that would require that paper copy. Because, if we're sending 7 copies to the attorney's office, that's for distribution to the DEC, DEP that don't want paper. So, it could be 25 copies.
Ultimately, it could save save the town on money too, because then they're not
Mailing.
to mail all these packages to
The
everybody.
fees,
Well, that's part of the fees.
the fees cover the postage costs, look at where, things are costing more and more, the labor just.
So leave the fee the
process.
same and get the flash drive.
It makes it, and again, just to make this board aware as well, in the process of our updating our building code, I'm proposing a fee schedule that brings whatever the fee rates to the 21st century. We're still charging $25 for permit fees.
Right.
It doesn't even cover the processing. We really need to get where we can at least cover our costs on these projects. That'll be coming to it as well. And lastly, I spoke with the supervisor, briefly with our councilman here before the meeting. The camper topic is back. It never really went away. Some residents are requesting to have some correspondence in an attempt to adjust our zoning code to modify the current commercial and recreational vehicles regulations,
In the driveway, campers in the driveway.
residential occupancies.
They're coming to the town board meeting on Monday.
I assume they're for having these parked in their driveway.
Yeah. And,
They,
it's probably a neighbor fight, but, someone's got a nice big camper in front of their house and
The neighbor can't see up the street. That's it.
That's basically
Yeah.
what it is. It's all about sightline. Reality is it's public safety. So we gotta have those discussions. And if we can fix this, let's fix it.
because there are some towns that allow it between May 15th and September 15th.
Yeah, because you're gonna load your camper up and leave. And where do they want it stored?
Yeah, they'll store it somewhere, but for that, maybe we can come to an agreement that way, because right now you're not supposed to have it all.
No, that's not true. You can have it.
It's,
In a nutshell, you can have the camper at your house, but if it's over 8 feet high, it's gotta be in the building or in the backyard. And if you have a camper at your house, 5 feet from the side yard, 10 feet from the front property line is where it needs to be stored. But let's face it, the campers have evolved over time. They're 9 feet tall, most of them are 18 feet long, and you put them in a 35-foot driveway, 3 feet from the house, it's, chances are the tongue is right at the sidewalk. So you're kind of, it's a tough place to put in a driveway of a single-family residence.
So maybe the 10 feet from the front line needs to be re-added too.
Well, that's a sightline issue, because if you're backing out of the driveway and you've got a public walk that comes across, if you're blocking the view of that public walk, that's an accident
I
waiting to
understand
happen.
that, but if you make that 20 feet, then
Oh, well.
at most subdivisions, it's going to be impossible unless it's in the backyard.
That's a discussion that has to be had at a public forum, and those that are interested in the topic.
There's no way to get it to the backyard.
Yeah, because
Their lots are too narrow.
you can't fit it in between the houses.
Not
Plus,
anymore.
Well, I know the new ones.
they'll gouge the grass and there's no fence.
Well, there isn't any way. You've got stuff there, and then you got the lot line, and they can barely walk to their side garage door.
I went through a bunch of subdivisions, I wrote down, there's a handful that are behind the house, but they're like squeezed in. And it's, you know, it could be I get people are moving their trailers all the time, but there's like 2 per 100 houses, or, you know, 200 houses. You go through all these subdivisions, you see 2 campers in the driveway.
And they're usually temporary around me. They usually just came in from being on vacation and they're cleaning it. And it might be there for a week and off they go again.
Yeah.
But my other neighbors on Lake Avenue have kept their camper in their front yard on a little pad since I've lived there 40 years ago.
4 years.
Pardon?
4 years, and I know of one specific.
Well, the one on Lake Avenue, the Myers, it's been there for 40 years. 40 years.
And one of the corner lots in my subdivision had gates that open their not picket fence, but their fence, and they drive it in over the sidewalk into their backyard. You see the top 2 feet over the fence.
Yeah. So again, you know, it's a topic, it's worth having that discussion.
Yeah.
And if we can modify this thing so that it satisfies all of the concerns, why can't we make the amendment?
Yeah, if they can get it so, like if you're backing out, you can see. But then they just get a bit.
Dave, what was that?
So if you want me to forward that email from the young, the lady, shoot my ear off. She sent me an email so I can forward it to everyone. What it is, and just to give you her ideas. I can do that.
Okay.
You know, every variance so far that has been requested and every relief request has pretty much been denied by zoning board.
For
For the
campers?
camper, you know, you can identify the specific camper, it works with this camper, then you buy a 34-footer next year, you know, too many moving pieces there, and there's too much opposition even to those requests.
But you can see that sometimes, it is a safety issue. You're backing out, you can't see kids come up the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right. And they hang over the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They hang over quite a bit.
Junior's got his bike out, crashes into the front bumper.
Well, if you're gonna do that, I also have a neighbor who has a very, very large pickup truck with a trailer hitch on the back, and the trailer hitch sticks over the sidewalk to the point that I've hit my shin for the last time. I'm gonna have a hissy fit.
One more time, this is why we had to codify where the parking spaces, even in the residential
Right,
districts.
right.
10 feet from the front property line, 5 feet from the side side yard. We're protecting the public walk, and we're also protecting the drainage swale along the property lines.
Right.
We had to codify.
Right.
Any other discussion?
I believe you're gonna get a new planning board member next meeting. Adam ordered me his name, Michael Reinhold, I guess he's on the planning commission in the village.
Yeah. I remember, Mike.
He's supposed to be put on Monday. And as far as the secretary goes, Neil, we have no one, so I know you asked if you want to go searching for someone.
I have been I wrote down some names, I asked a couple people, but I haven't gotten anybody yet.
I will ask the board if they want to put it on the website or get somebody as soon as possible, like set the date.
Yeah, I appreciate that, yeah.
If, like Bob said, if you have to raise it a couple dollars or whatever, and they will report.
Which in retrospect, I think maybe we might have to do that. I think when you're new at this, it takes a lot of time, you know? I think you can streamline it after a while, but I think the new people that took over found that it was a lot more of their time than they realized. So maybe raising the amount, the pay would be helpful.
And going forward, because budget's coming up, so putting in the budgets for all the departments, we can definitely from January 1st.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else? Matt, you got anything? Anybody? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second.
I guess I made it.
That
That was it.
I have one more thing.
Oh,
Sorry about that. We had a meeting, I was there, John Pilato, Michelle Barlow. This is really nothing to do with, I don't want to say nothing to do with planning, but we're gonna work on a recreation capital plan for recreational facilities. We're gonna, somebody came in and complained about a park in the South Park. We don't have a park in the south end of town. You know, those subdivisions back there.
Yeah, when I was running for office back in 1999, I proposed that, and I was going to be almost tarred and feathered for suggesting such a thing. You know,
By the residents in the area?
yeah,
Yeah, now they want to park.
We're not quite there at the time, but we're still looking for land down there. But that led to, hey, let's take a look at recreational facilities at all the parks, you know, because we're always seeing that from a town board, we're always being reactionary. We gotta fix this, all of a sudden we gotta fix this. You know, we didn't apply for the playground grant because we weren't sure where the money was gonna come from the town. If we got it, the matching part. So we kind of said, let's take a look at the parks and kind of do a capital plan. And we dumped a ton of money in the brickyard, the baseball field, and it's not done here, it won't be done until the fall. So it seems like we're always being reactionary instead of trying to get ahead and say, okay, let's look at some of these projects for the next 10 years. What really, you know, what we need to fix and what we really want in the long term.
yeah, good idea, yeah.
What kind of park are you looking for?
Well,
I mean, if it's more soccer fields and baseball fields,
no, this lady the lady in particular, she wants a handful of basketball courts and a small playground, somewhere where they can ride their bikes too. And some of those.
I was thinking more like Meadow Lee used to be.
Yeah, a pocket park or something.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta have those,
A slide or jump, gym where the kids can crawl over.
And that's what I was suggesting back in the day.
You can play soccer.
yeah.
So,
I thought I personally know a couple that had some property they were,
But right now, we're looking at just town-owned property.
oh, okay.
but if not.
Yeah, then we'll take the next step. I mean, and I was shocked at how much land the town owns. A lot. Mostly useless, but there's a lot of land.
Yeah,
A lot of wetland.
And-
floodwaters.
Is everybody on the way
I
to
will,
the street, maybe get another one?
and I think we've alluded to using those rec fees that have accrued for buying some more land that might be appropriate for something like this.
And it's tough because we're using some of those rec fees to do brickyard. And, you know, we looked at the budget for, in those recreation filing fees to, the park, just the playground, at Westwood, to replace it with inclusionary playground for special ed and everything, was almost $500,000.
Oh, jeez.
And that's not even a very big playground. Look,
Yeah.
that's just
you
a
know,
little.
put the matting down and, redo it, $500,000. And the grant was for $250,000, but when you took $250,000 out of the rec filing fees, you're gonna be down to nothing.
Yeah.
Then then you have backstop to fix, and you have, the outfield and brickyards, put the drainage in it. It's an ongoing.
Yeah, we looked at backstops and dugouts, one of the Little League fields in Walden Pond, $120,000.
Ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that rec filing fee is just not, it was brought up by Councilman Leary about, how the school does a capital plan, a bond, they'll say, hey, okay, listen, top 3, 4 projects, whatever, for recreation and buildings, what do we need to, things that we need to fix and things that we, want to build off of, maybe bonds, just an idea. The Pew just got in the Fireman's Park, they got a fitness station thing, and I think Salvatore donated some money towards it. So, just to keep you guys informed.
Yeah. You want to mention Siebert? Siebert?
Oh, yeah. John Haumesser, who's been here several times opposed to the Siebert project, is working on something based on an editorial or something that appeared in the Bee a few months ago, where somebody wanted to develop a park behind the school in that sort of wetland area that they want to build all those houses. And that project's sort of been stalled, I think. We haven't heard much about it, but he's working on some sort of proposal with the neighbors to see if he can't come up with some plan to have a park there, which would be perfect behind the school. And it would defeat that Siebert thing if they got some sort of agreement with the current owners.
Well, you know, not to be going out at William Street School, there's not even a playground.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a baseball diamond, and then, you know, football, little league football tracks in there. There's not, that's grades, what, 4 through 6? There's not a playground, there's no,
Yeah.
you know, that's just like,
Or
They
school
own
that-
a lot of land there.
Right.
Big chunk of land.
so, but it's just amazing that they're gonna at a school and then they'll have a playground.
Big school, too.
Wait, is Westwood, is that playground fixed?
We've been fixing it.
Okay.
It's usable.
Is it usable so a 4-year-old doesn't step off into space?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I mean, they went in,
Because I had to stop my grandson from stepping off
and they
into
went in,
space.
welded a bunch of stuff and fixed a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
we've made some repairs on it. It's
Alright.
25 years old now.
No.
So, you know, and that's, again, you know.
Right.
Should we have been storing more money away to, so now we're reacting to all these issues. Trying to get ahead of it somehow.
I probably shouldn't have been on it. I said, no, this is open, let's go up this way. And so we're coming up, I'm ducking, I'm leaping, whoa! There's a 4-foot step on.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard about the pond, that was not really a pond.
Yeah.
Heritage.
Yes.
Spoke to them today.
Pardon?
I spoke to them today.
Who is them?
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, they spoke at a board meeting, and they called, they were inquiring about who owned the property. That area was basically flooded by a beaver dam on private property. And flooding was damaging the Heritage Trail. So it's not really a pond, it was a flooded area.
Well, if you look at the maps I've looked at, it's mapped as wetland. Not the wetland maps, it's like the older topo maps.
Correct.
From 1980 show it as a wetland, but
Yeah.
all you need to do is put a beaver guard on it.
And the delineation information from the Derrick Corporation's project identified that area as a wetland area, okay? And, right, so the recommendation is to put a
beaver guard.
guard. so
A
that they
beaver
don't-
guard. What a beaver guard would do, I mean, that would cost maybe $500 to build a beaver guard, maybe $1,000. You go online go online tomorrow when you get a chance, the DEC website, and see if you can get plans for a beaver guard. And if you can't do it, you go to Rhinestein's and you take a little walk up, and the very first pond you come has beaver guards on every pipe. And what it is, it's 2x4s with welded wire, like 4-inch welded wire, built to a spec that goes out away from the pipe. They may have to put a pipe through that sluice, but over the sluice, that the beavers try to block it up with mud, and water can always get over the top, because they can never block the top.
Preventative measure.
It allows the pond to fill up. It allows the wetland to return. The thing that irritated me the most, also the people who wrote the letter, is that the painted turtles are just starting to make an environmental comeback in western New York, and you killed them all.
They saved a bunch.
They saved a bunch, but there are a lot
Right.
that died in that muck hole.
Right.
And they saved as many as I talked to them. I was on my bike ride one day, and they were collecting turtles left and right. There's footprints where he got stuck,
Yeah.
you know? And the painted turtles find that location to be the right place for them. So look up a beaver guard and see if we just can't. This is the second time it's been drained. The first
Right.
time was the last highway superintendent.
So isn't this a conversation that we really need to be having with the Derrick Corporation? I am sure they'll participate. If we can provide a remedy that's going to satisfy both sides of that. One, that it's not going to damage the trail, and two, that it's going to allow the habitat to rejuvenate itself.
Yep.
I'm almost 100% positive the ownership
Would agree to
would be
it?
okay with it, would participate in it. I mean, if it's something that we have to manage to save the integrity of the trail, then I think we got to work together as a community to get to that end, rather than,
The whole joy of the trail was the wetland. That was the whole joy. The rest of it is, meh, it's just a trail. But then you could stop.
How far is it in from Walter Wilton?
Oh,
Half a mile.
right at the
On the
very
left-hand
end.
side.
Yeah,
It
right on the
is-
north side of the trail. Right where the V of the ownership of the town runs parallel with the trail.
From Walter Winter parking lot, it is quarter of a mile most. Not even
From the beginning of the trail?
on the west
From
end
east,
going
It
eastbound.
all drains to the east towards that area. All right, now, on the lot next door to the east, there is a very large pond structure with a stream that passes underneath the trail, and it heads down south and feeds into Plum Creek, Plum Bottom Creek. Passes through the village, and the village has our building. So,
I mean, you can't see the quarry ponds anymore because of the burn. You used to be able to kind of get a peek, but now you can't. And you can peek at, Lake Lorelei or whatever it's called.
Laurel Lake,
Laurel-
right, that's way east of.
That's way east, but those are the only views, as it were. Otherwise, it's just a,
Well, there's one midstream that's rather considerable, and that's the one I was talking about, that has a stream that passes underneath the trail. And it's right behind, it's gonna be between Cemetery Road and Walter Winter, right dead center in the middle. It's a substantial pond, and all kinds of wildlife are all around there.
does it drain into the thing that was drained? Or is that a separate?
It's
It's a,
it's further east.
Further
from there,
east.
And it drains below the trail, heads south, and then eventually makes its way here to Plum Bottom Creek.
it's, I'm gonna have to take a look. It must go under the trail there
It
also.
does.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but is it, I'm thinking is it in that section where the trail's kind of high?
I'll send you
Yeah.
I'll send you the overview.
I know.
You'll see exactly where.
I'm pretty sure mine.
So will the beaver guard go on the town property?
It would go on the upstream or the north side of the trail, the bike trail, right tight to the drainage structure.
That's where the beaver dam,
That's where the beaver dam.
we took it out.
You took it out. Beaver dam up moving water, draining. So they will try and plug up, but the last time this thing was drained, it naturally filled back up when it started to rain a little bit. I don't know what they've done to dig out in front of the structure, but may have to actually fill that back in a little bit, put the beaver guard
The
on.
pipe there is 5 feet down
It's 5 feet down.
below the trail.
Well, that's ridiculous. You mean from the top of the trail?
Yes.
But from the bottom of the pond area, it's not below grade, it's flush.
Right, the bottom of the pipe
Bottom of the
is
pipe
that
is-
grade.
Is that grade?
Right, yeah.
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 And is it a 4x4 or something like that?
No, but it was pretty good size. I forget what they said, how big it was. At least 36 inches, not bigger. And it was put in by the railroad. I mean, it's been there forever.
It has, it's concrete.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
been there forever. So once they got the beavers out, trapped them, moved them, they just went in and cleared out the blockage and then just emptied the bed.
Right, so you may have to put a couple of, boards in. You
Well,
put-
yeah,
put a couple-
the issue's gonna be, is the guy who owns land want his land flooded.
Well,
The town doesn't own it.
if he doesn't mind it, then maybe you have them build a control structure.
Right, I'm saying we have to deal with the owner.
Put a couple of, a board structure, in other words, it's just a,
Yeah, 'cause where the town cleaned it, that was in the town, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
where the water was backed up, was
Is that-
private land.
But they've never complained.
No, they have.
They have?
They had, yeah. I got a call. They've been complaining, they were happy as.
If you're done, you can give them to
No, by next week.
So, that's,
Yeah, I'm gonna check with,
they complained when the trail was built.
to see how quickly they need them.
No,
Is
okay.
it,
I'll let you know.
is it flooding?
I'm gonna take mine over tomorrow. You want me to take
I
it?
don't think so.
See, I don't have mine.
Okay, well,
Okay, believe it or not, we have a motion on the table to adjourn. That was at 7:12, I think.
Yeah.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I never knew they could do that to the beavers. Beaver guard, I never heard of it. I
Beaver guards. Look it up. I don't even know if there's plans, but they're all over Ronstadt.
Oh, yeah, and that lily pond.
Yeah, and they're all over Chicago County because the town highway superintendent put them on their sluice.
Yeah. A friend of mine has property right by Cass Creek. He says, I don't know who the beaver engineer here is. He says, but the trees are all being felled going away from the creek.
Well, he was our